Hello, my name is Robert Shelley. Welcome to this week's episode of the Family Federation Report. We will be continuing our series of sermons by the Rev In Jin Moon from Loving Life Ministries. She is, of course, the daughter of Rev Moon. We will cover such topics as discipline being the key to freedom, addictions, and other relevant topics. So once again, welcome and please enjoy.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. When I was a teenage girl, the word freedom, I understood it as something that I could do whatever I wanted without any restraint and without constraint. And so anybody or anything that came in the form of a hindrance or an obstacle to whatever I wanted to do became a sore spot for me. And I think that's the case for a lot of teenagers going through their road of self-discovery. But this great country was not founded on the concept of doing whatever I want. In a way, this country was founded with the concept that it wanted to honor God. The people that came and braved the storms and braved the seas and braved the weather came to honor God, to live in his and her embrace, and to raise great children that will be inspired, that will be nurtured, and that will be empowered by this understanding of God as a parent, so that they will accomplish their true destinies and become the great people that they wanted to. When you think about the word freedom, right? Audibly, it sounds like two words. It sounds like free. Everybody knows what that means. And the children want to be free, like a bird. Sail wherever they want to sail. Fly wherever they want to fly. Live wherever they want to live. But the second word sounds like dumb. So when you're young and you're screaming out to our parents, and we are screaming out to our parents, I want my freedom. I want my freedom. Freedom to do whatever I please. Well, maybe God has given us a little clue or a hint implicit in the word. Maybe God is trying to tell us that freedom is really a privilege and an honor. And we have to, in a way, treat it with reverence and respect. Because if we don't, we are just understanding as something that is absent of any restraint. And anything goes, which can lead to very, very dumb actions. Things that are not good for us. So when we're thinking about the word freedom, it's a choice to make decisions responsibly. So when we are responsible citizens, when we are true citizens of this great country, we will honor this country's constitution. We will honor its set of traditions. And understanding where we come from, understanding the privilege that we have been given to live in this country of democracy, where we are given the right to choose. What freedom means is the ability to make responsible decisions. So then we must ask ourselves, how do we go about exercising this responsibility and exercise our ability to make wise decisions? Well, our true father, Rev In Jin Moon, said in 1978, he encouraged us to speak to our mind, our inmost self, or our innermost self. And he said that if we can have loving, or altruistic or wonderful thoughts about the other. That will help us in the oneness of becoming truly one with God. And he says, and if we can become one with God, then all the knowledge of the universe will be revealed to us. In a way, Father understands the power of the human thought or the thinking process. I have often talked about how thinking is a creative process, in that what we think, we become. So if we think that we are bad people, and we're constantly telling ourselves, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough, I'm bad, then that's what we become. Because we train ourselves, we indoctrinate ourselves that we are unworthy, we're valueless, and we're not good enough. So in a way, the negative thinking creates a negative person. But if we can work on our thought process and understand it as a creative process in knowing that what we think we become, and we start telling ourselves, we are the son and daughter, eternal sons and daughters of God. We have infinite value. We are not just put on this earth as dust in the wind, but we have a purpose, and we have a great destiny to fulfill. Then this kind of thinking creates a successful and a grateful and a beautiful person. So when Father, our true Father, is encouraging us to speak to our mind, he is encouraging us to seek that moment of beautiful silence. Many times we go about our day, many times we go about our business, being so busy and so consumed by the noises of daily living. And I myself feel it every day working here in New York City. There are so much static in the air, so many different types of noises. But it's important to speak to our mind, our innermost self, finding that moment of beautiful silence when you can commune with the divine, our Heavenly Parent up in heaven, and commune with the divine that's within our hearts. And in that way realize that some of the most beautiful things in life is turning down the volume of the world and hearing the beauty of your own heartbeat or the heartbeat of a loved one. Understanding that God lives in all of us. Understanding that our heart beats because we want to love, because we want to honor God. We want to exercise our freedom to do the right thing. The Declaration of Independence guarantees the right to life, liberty, or freedom, or the pursuit of happiness. But if we don't really understand who we are, and if we don't understand that we are creative beings put on this earth to exercise our freedom or our liberties in a way that makes us beautiful and wonderful, then many times we can revert back to the negative thoughts or to this hedonistic understanding of the word freedom, thinking we can do whatever we want, even if those actions might not be the smartest thing to do. And if we are to ask ourselves, well, okay, so one of the things that we can do in preparation to make that wise decision, to exercise our freedom, to decide responsibly, is to first speak to our minds, to enjoy that beautiful silence. Well, what else can we do? Well, we need to have a sense of respect. We need to have a sense of reverence for ourselves and for the other people in our lives. If we do not respect ourselves as eternal divine beings, it's very difficult to respect anybody else as divine eternal beings. In a way, we have to respect our lives. We have to respect ourselves. We have to respect the country that we come from, that we're born into, that we have the privilege of living in. We Americans are so blessed in that we can exercise and enjoy due process of law, that we can exercise our freedom to choose responsibly, that we have been given a choice through the democratic process and take part in the political making process of the American government. In a way, we are so blessed. And there is this one story that really moved me. And it was actually a story about this guy that works in Ludwig von Beethoven's home in Bonn, Germany. And this guide tells a story of how he was so moved by this one visitor to the museum. You know, he sees many, many groups of students coming to visit the great master's home and to see where he composed these eternal melodies and on what instrument he played them and on what instrument he was inspired. And so he talks about this one group of young students that came to visit. And this one girl in particular, she said she was a great pianist herself. So she was negotiating with the tour guide, you know, can you please let me play on Beethoven's piano? And, you know, the piano has been roped off because now Beethoven's piano is worth more than $50 million. But this, you know, excited classical musical student wanting to be a pianist herself was just so excited. She wanted to lay her fingers on those black and white keys. She wanted to touch it. She wanted to play it. And so at first, the tour guide was a bit hesitant. But she was very, very insistent, and she even gave him quite a bit of money. So the tour guide finally acquiesced and led her behind the roped area that kept the piano private. So then the girl sat at the piano and, you know, started playing one of Beethoven's most popular pieces, Moonlight Sonata. And she was obviously, you know, so engrossed in the music, so engrossed in this universal language that was coming through this instrument and through her fingers. And she played beautifully. And at the end of her performance, you know, her group gave her, you know, standing ovation. Everyone was so gleeful and so excited. And then the tour guide, you know, so she came up to the tour guide and said, oh, you know, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the tour guide was thinking, this is kind of interesting. And then he was remembering in his mind of another visitor that came. And, you know, he was thinking, well, this girl, obviously she respects and honors Beethoven, that she made this journey to come to Bonn, Germany, and to find Beethoven's museum and his home, and wanted to touch the instrument because she loved it so much. But he was thinking of another visitor. And this visitor happens to be one of the great pianists of all time, and he's Paderewski. And he recalled in his mind a time when Paderewski came with an entourage of famous people and important people. And everybody who accompanied him to Beethoven's house was looking so much forward to hearing Paderewski play on Beethoven's piano. But the tour guide talks about how the great master, Paderewski, came. And he stood before the piano in silence for 10 or 15 minutes. And he just stood there. He would not go beyond the roped area where the piano was kept. And so some people in his entourage egged him on, saying, Mr. Paderewski, please, Beethoven would be so pleased to hear you play. Could you please sit down and play a couple of Beethoven's most popular pieces? And Mr. Paderewski he started tearing up. And he said, and you're talking, and this is, he is one of the greatest pianists of all time. And, and also he went on to become a great politician later in life. But he stood there before Beethoven's piano in respect of the great master Beethoven and in respect of Beethoven's instrument. And he said, I'm not worthy. I'm simply not worthy to sit and play on the Grand Master's piano. And the tour guide realized the difference in a true master and a master in the making. In that a true master has reverence for the instrument, has reverence for the great composer. The great master is not so keen on possessing that instrument and creating history that he or she will remember for the rest of her life. See, in front of greatness, a true great man and a woman understands his or her own humility, whereas somebody who is still on the road of discovery has yet to understand what true humility is all about. So imagine one of the greatest pianists of all time honoring the Grand Master, Beethoven, who have come before him and who has given so much beauty to his fellow humanity, to say, I am humbled before you. I am in awe of you. And out of my reverence, out of my respect and my honor, I will honor your instrument because that was the source of your inspiration. So this is a beautiful story of understanding what honor and reverence is all about. And so for those of us here who enjoy the democratic process, who enjoy the chance to, in a way, be a part of this land of opportunity, and with our sincere effort and perseverance, make whatever dreams come true. In a way, we are truly lucky to have this chance. We're not living in North Korea, where we do not have a voice, where we cannot vote, where we cannot even buy the things we want, where we are controlled so completely that we cease to be human, almost. In a way, because we live in this great country, because we live in this blessed country, in a way, we have a responsibility to respect the tradition and to honor the country that we come from and to honor the tradition that we come from. And to know that we are incredibly blessed in that we have been given such a great teacher in our true parents. And just like Paderewski, and just like Mr. Paderewski, when we can attain the level where we can truly be the embracer of true love, or the embodiment of true love, then we will be just like Mr. Paderewski when we come before our true parents. We will understand our own humility, not our own brilliance. We will understand how incredibly blessed we are, and we will understand that we have been given a tremendous gift that we have to use wisely. And we have to exercise our decisions responsibly. And so, when you refer back to Buddhism, and Dhammapada 25 teaches us that by sustained effort, earnestness, and self-control and hard work, we can be the wise men that can create an island that can withstand any floods. That's what Buddhism teaches. In a way, in our road to self-discovery, in the road of exercising our freedom properly, first by really understanding and listening to that beautiful silence and speaking to our minds about the creative process of our own thinking. And secondly, having a certain reverence for this opportunity given to us, this life. Then we realize that what we must do in our life, once we understand what an incredible, blessed opportunity we have before us, is to exercise the discipline that's necessary, which is the discipline, actually, is the key to being free. And let me tell you why. In a way, when we see the great Olympic athletes competing in the competition at the Olympics, what we are seeing is the end of years and years of discipline. Years and years of discipline of exercising control, self-control, of exercising persistence, of exercising seriousness, or the seriousness of purpose in working hard to accomplish what they want to accomplish. In a way, when you see a natural and a beautiful and a fluid dancer, and that's probably one of the greatest compliments you can give to a dancer, is to tell them they're such fluid and ethereal dancers. When a dancer aspires to perform ethereally or in a fluid way, they are so free on their stage performance. They are so free without restraint and constraint. They look like they can jump as high as a bird. And they look like they can twirl better than a top. And that kind of freedom comes from years and years of discipline. So we realize that discipline is not something that we should fight against. Because if you really think about it, if every one of us is like this majestic, gigantic oak tree that God wants to share with the rest of the world, many times the trees in the windy zones or areas of our lives need a little bit of help. Sometimes they need to be tied to a wire. They need support so that the tree can continue to grow straight. And many times the oak tree or the young oak tree might look at the wires and the support and say, where is my freedom? Why can't I do whatever I want? Well, many times those wires and the support systems are our parents or our teachers, helping us, guiding us, because they know how great we are going to be. So when the Bible teaches us in Romans chapter 5, verse 3 through 5, that we rejoice in our suffering. Now, don't get me wrong. As a senior pastor of Loving Life, I am not here to teach us that we are here to suffer. I am here to remind us that we are here to love and to live gratefully. But the good book, the Bible, in Romans chapter 5, verse 3 through 5 says, we rejoice in our suffering. Because suffering produces endurance. And endurance produces character. And character produces hope. And we have endless hope because God is pouring His love in each and every one of our hearts. So if we're to ask ourselves, sometimes our lives are so difficult. Sometimes we feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. Why should we have hope? Why should we go on? Well, because God, our Heavenly Parent, and our true parents are here to tell us that life is a process and that suffering is not an end goal of our lives. It's through suffering that we learn how to endure. And it is through exercising endurance that we build great characters, or characters that understand the meaning of honor, gratitude, and reverence. And with that kind of a character, you cannot help but be hopeful in understanding who you are, because all of us are divine human beings. So this passage in Romans is saying that if we truly exercise our freedom in a sense that God wants us to exercise it, then the ultimate goal that it leads us to is a sense of gratitude. When we listen to God in the moments of beautiful silence, when we can honor our lives in reverence for this opportunity given, when we can discipline ourselves, because discipline is only a way that God will make us more and more free and fluid and natural and faster and wiser. Then we come to realize that the only thing that we need to do is to exercise and to practice gratitude in our lives, and to exercise appreciation in our lives. So if we truly understand the meaning of the beauty of each day given to us, we can no longer be a men and women of indifference. You know, many of us, we have a problem in our families. Many of us might have difficulties in our careers. Many of us might have difficulties with our colleagues or friends, and we simply don't want to deal with it. We don't want to make the effort to love. In a way, we decide to be indifferent. We decide to not care. But if we truly understand that we are eternal sons and daughters of God, that God is our heavenly parent, our eternal heavenly parent, and that we are his sons and daughters of God, we have a responsibility to live an altruistic life, living for the sake of others. And we have a duty to practice compassion in our lives, to be caring, to be loving, to be supporting, and work on our internal and external excellence. And only by being and living this way can we accomplish this world of peace that we are looking for and dreaming about, one family at a time. So, brothers and sisters, as we think about, our true parents and really this incredible opportunity that we have before us to allow the world to realize what an incredible blessing all of us have in living and breathing with our true parents. In a way, our freedom and our desire to exercise our freedom should be that of proper decision-making, being responsible citizens, being responsible men and women, in understanding where we come from. So, brothers and sisters, the greatest gift is that our heavenly parent up in heaven gave us a chance to know each other. What are the chances of you sitting next to the person right now? We have infinite value, and we are put here for an incredible destiny. So, brothers and sisters, go loving life, and have a great week and a great month. Thank you.
If you are feeling inspired or simply want to know more about us here at the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, we are located here in Parnell, Auckland, or you can simply use our 0800 True Family number. To the first 5 lucky callers, we will be giving away a free copy of Rev In Jin Moon's autobiography. It is called As a Peace-Loving Global Citizen. It spans his last 50 years of ministry on a worldwide level. So once again, thank you for joining us and have a good week. Bye for now.